Hey everybody, and welcome back to Crypto Kings. It's Matt, and I know a lot of people are worried about the current crypto crash, but in today's video I wanted to talk with you guys about everything that comes to my mind when looking at the current price action for Shiba Inu, what I see happening in the future, etc, etc. Now, before I get your rage comments, I know crypto crashed. It happens. But I wanted to go over what I think could happen after this SHIB crash and going into the future. So, again, I didn't cause the crash. I'm just the guy reporting on it. So, without further ado, let's get right into it, folks. So, first off, when we really get into this, we have to look at the entire market right now. And unfortunately, folks, things are not looking good, especially when you look at the 24-hour here. You guys can see some of the biggest losers here over the past 24-hour, just very, very difficult. However, when you look through this list and when you take a look at all of the different cryptos out there, something extremely interesting that I find when looking through these lists, of course, is the fact that SHIB really isn't down all that much. 14% is definitely no joke, but comparatively to tons of other assets out there, SHIB is actually even less down than Bitcoin, and it's right on par with Ethereum. And of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum tend to be, for the most part, a little bit more on the stable side, and SHIB tends to be the one that is volatile for the most part. Now, what is interesting about this is, again, on the week, we're only down 9%. It's not all that bad compared to where we were last week. And, there are tons of other coins out there, Dogecoin, tons of other things that are really taking a beating right now, which I really didn't see happening. An example, of course, of another success is Polygon Matic, which is still up 12% on the week. So although it had a bad day today, it's still doing good on the week. So when we look at our data here right now for SHIB, there is an awful lot to unpack. Before we do, guys, make sure to check out Webull, top of the link down below in the description. If you guys want to get started trading stocks, cryptocurrency, all that good stuff, including SHIB, you guys can do that with the link at the top of the description down below. Love to have you guys over there, and if you sign up right now, you guys should get some free stocks. So definitely go ahead and check it out. Webull, top of the link down below. So when we look at our graph here, guys, again, you guys can see really, we're not doing all too hot, and then, oh my goodness, candle all the way down, just terribly low down to 31. And we are thankfully able to watch a bit of a comeback from 31 up to 35. But again, we are still down a good deal. Volume-wise, we are up 109%, which is just bonkers. You guys can see a volume right now of $3.5 billion, which is literally ludicrous, with a market cap right now, again, down 15% at 19 trillion. This is the first time we've been below 20 billion, and not trillion, billion. The first time we've been below $20 billion for a long time. So definitely been a good deal of time since we've encountered that spot. So when we take a look at our graph here, by the way, there is a lot going on here. So the first thing that, I think a lot of people could agree with is essentially this was out of nowhere. In terms of technical analysis and anything like that, you can basically throw it out the window right now, because there's really no sign that SHIB was going to do this. In fact, there's no sign that any crypto was going to do this. And of course, the biggest crypto indicator out there is, of course, Bitcoin. And when you look, at the 7-day, it just doesn't look like this was going to happen. Like, I think most people can agree this came kind of out of nowhere. And this flash crash, again, because of the volatility, is not something I'm worried about. Remember, guys, when you see a flash crash like this, and if you guys have not experienced these flash crashes before, this might seem new to you. The stock market or gold and silver, typically don't experience crashes on this scale. But when you have a flash crash like this, especially with crypto, it tends to come back. And it tends to come back usually within a couple of days. Why? Because when you look at a graph like this, there is no reason for any, logical sense for this to happen. There is no reason for us to just fall off a cliff like this, especially considering one could argue we were creating a bit of a wedge movement here. You'd say a falling wedge movement here if you wanted to. Again, it's not quite as neat and pretty as the average falling wedge, would be, but I think most people looking at this could say, yeah, there was no reason for this to happen. There was no reason for Bitcoin to just fall off a cliff like this. So typically, again, when you have a severe spike in volume like this, you're going to see the assets recover relatively quickly. And again, I think that within a couple of days, you could very well see this happen. Now, I'm sure a lot of people right now are typing out in the comments, is this the right time to buy? Should I hop in? And I think it really depends on what the graph is looking like here on the day and whether or not this looks like it's continuing. But as you guys can see, of course, your boy bought the dip. I bought the dip because, again, I am looking to essentially hop in when everybody else is jumping out. And people who are, jumping out are looking to, hopefully do that before everybody else jumps in. So, it's kind of a weird balance that you're trying to engage with. But again, I definitely do think that if you are looking at some coins on the day, I mean, you can browse through anything here. If it looks as if they are on sort of the start of a recovery, let's take Solana for example. Let's say this sort of bottom here at 176. Let's say this continues to work its way up, and you think you're, watching a recovery happen, and the rest of the market is moving up. Then by all means, maybe it's a good time to buy. I don't think there will be much more of a bloodbath than what we've already seen. I think 29 or whatever we were at is going to be the all-time low for SHIB for a long time. I don't see us getting that low anytime in the near future. So when we get started with looking indicators and things like that, one of the main things that I know you guys are going to want to sort of take note of is the fact that when we look at the relative strength index here, you guys can see this. It is volatile. We reached all the way down to 21, which is just incredibly, incredibly volatile, which makes it very tough to sort of gauge what's going to happen, but it definitely does show these signs of a snap back, because when you trade this low for the most part, and again, have such an insane surge in volume like this, when you have such insane activity like this, what you are essentially working with is a very volatile asset that could easily snap back and have a bull run very easily. It's not impossible at all. This could completely U-turn, could, launch, and I could wake up in the morning and SHIB could be up 20%. It's possible. Extremely unlikely, but it's possible. What's more likely is probably the fact that we, again, sort of start building some candles upwards and start, growing maybe more steadily again and trying to snap back into like the 40-ish range. And then, the line for 40 kind of becomes the major point of resistance. And it's our goal to kind of, hop above this 40 line as best possible. So, this is kind of our goal in a situation like this, try to hop, above the 40 line and keep working our way upwards or whatnot. That's kind of our goal. Again, it is very, very tough to ensure that we see this happen just because there is such a bloodbath going on in the whole market right now. But, I definitely do think that 29 is by far the lowest SHIB will go for the near future. When we take a look, of course, at the Fibonacci retracement, you guys can see it is essentially going to, plot out the high and low of the most recent run. But what is disturbing about this is that, it completely rejects just about everything. I mean, there is no, following anything with this Fibonacci retracement. The only thing you could say is that it falls down to the 361.8% line, almost like clockwork, and then snaps back up again. The fib line could have gotten lucky, but it does look like it bounced off the 261.8% down line as well here. So again, these fib lines could just be getting lucky, and hitting on decimal places that are susceptible to these candles. But the fib definitely does have a lot of accuracy to it for the most part, and it definitely is worth looking at. And I'm interested to see whether or not we can climb again back above the 161.8% line and then back into the positives and hopefully start working our way back up again, But it's definitely going to be tough, of course, considering these fib lines are just extremely, extremely stubborn sometimes. So again, definitely do keep this in mind. Sometimes you do have to take the Fibonacci retracement with a grain of salt. Other times you can be a little bit more, observant of it. In a situation like this, it's very difficult to sit here and just draw lines of support and resistance and whatnot, because it is so volatile. It is so based on social media pressure and whatnot. There's so much of that is factoring into price right now that it's very hard to just look at a line and say, yeah, this is, based on this technical analysis going to go up 2%. It's basically impossible to do that right now. So that being said, guys, I hope you all have enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more daily SHIB vids, of course. Let me know whether or not you guys bought the dip down below in the comments. That being said, everybody, my name is Matt. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.